Hello and welcome to Insiders, a podcast all about the world of television with me, Peter Fincham.
And me, Jimmy Mulville.
This is a podcast for people who love TV and want to know a bit more about what goes on behind the scenes in show business. Jimmy, I think we're going to start on a very sad note.
Yes.
And I know this is about a colleague of yours who very sadly has died, and I think it's been a shock to everybody who knew him, everybody in the industry.
Yeah, you're talking about Will Dawes, of course, who he died very suddenly last week. It was a shock. He was very young. He was only in his late 50s. And he set up Plum Pictures with Stuart Cabb, his business partner, with us, with Hattrick, in 2007. And he's a very funny guy. He described himself as 10% man and 90% anecdote. He's very, very good company, Will. A great producer. He, in his early career, he was in War Zones. He did a bit of stand-up comedy. He was a bit of a Renaissance man and a big character. He produced shows with James May. He did all of James May's shows that weren't to do with Top Gear. He then also created the George Clark shows, the Amazing Spaces shows. He was great with talent. In fact, he was great with people. And we're all very shocked at Hattrick and at Plum. And of course, you know, we all went to his funeral, and I have to say, you know, his son Ethan gave the most remarkable eulogy. Everybody was in tears. And anyway, he will be missed. So I thought we would start with just remembering him for a second before we go into the murky world of television. And when I think of the murky world of television, Peter, I think of you.
Thank you. Now that we're in that murky world,
yes,
maybe we could also start with a bit of
breaking
news,
Ooh,
which
exciting.
is that Channel 4 has found and now announced.
Well, they didn't find her. They didn't like walk into a room and find her.
They've appointed. I should say they've appointed.
Exhaustive, isn't it?
Appointed new Chief Executive, Priya Dogra, who has been the head of advertising at Sky. And so this is immediately quite a striking appointment, because there's always been a head of advertising at Channel 4, ITV, all commercial broadcasters.
Chief Advertising, Group Data and New Revenue Officer at Sky.
I'll call that head of advertising.
Okay.
And generally speaking, that person has not become the chief executive. So in fact, since Alex Mahon left, Jonathan Allen, his head of advertising, has been the acting chief executive.
Did he apply for the job?
I've no idea.
How pissed off must he be?
Well, or maybe he'll be delighted to have somebody as a chief executive who understands what he does.
Yeah.
Because chief executives within commercial broadcasters can take quite a lot of interest in advertisers, or actually very little indeed. They can leave it to the do they go along to the get-togethers where the advertisers are there? No, as a chief executive, you can lean in either direction. They want to be editorial. They want to be across the editorial. No, don't go there. They can be leaning across the leaning in the direction, the editorial or the commercial side. Obviously, Priya Dogra, with a commercial background, is likely to be very strong on that. And then, logically, the challenge for her is to take control over, the editorial side and articulate an editorial vision for Channel 4, which CEOs of Channel 4 have done over the years. They felt it part of the job to articulate that editorial vision. But you could say that this appointment is a sign of the times, because Channel 4's editorial remit has been in place for 40 years now. It evolves, but essentially we know what the remit is. Its challenges...
Make TV shows.
Make good TV shows, exactly. Its challenges are commercial challenges.
Money.
How to navigate itself in a rapidly changing world. We're going to come onto this a bit in the podcast, where, Comcast might be taking over ITV. Goodness knows Spoiler alert, something big's going on in America. In other words, the ground is moving underneath you all the time.
Do you want to know what Jeff Cooper, the Channel 4... By the way, I love the fact... I didn't know he was called Jeff Cooper.
Well, who is he?
Who is he? He's the chair of Channel 4. Jeff.
I'm a bit out
Jeff
of date.
Cooper.
Jeff, yes.
I love that. He's not Lord so-and-so or Sir. He's Jeff Cooper. And
Okay.
I like the sound of Jeff.
Yes.
He said, I'm delighted I'm
He should
delighted.
be. He's presumably appointed her.
Well, I'm delighted that Priya Dogra will become Channel 4's 8th Chief Executive Officer. Priya is an outstanding executive, a visionary leader, and has a formidable intellect. She's an impressive experience in driving commercial growth, as you said, and digital transformation, as well as building collaborative partnerships alongside a track record of nurturing creative processes, delivering effective programming strategies, and building content production capabilities. She also possesses a passion for Channel 4 and a deep understanding of its public service remit. Priya is ideally equipped to lead the business through its next chapter, and we are thrilled to welcome her aboard. He just... off the cuff said that.
We hear ChatGPT
Wow.
came out with that one.
Jeff quite likes Priya anyway.
Yeah. That's quite a boilerplate announcement.
It's the kind of thing you say at the beginning. And she's equally delighted. Joining Channel 4 is a genuine privilege, she says. Well, that's all good. And I have to say,
I think it is.
She sounds very, very impressive.
But so, question that immediately comes to mind. I think when Alex announced that she was leaving, we all kind of thought, well, Alex and Ian Katz, as the head of programming, they are kind of bit joined at the hip. He's a bit like a prime minister and a chancellor. So one goes, the other might also say this is the time to go. But not that I've ever heard Ian Katz actually say that.
No.
But there's another way of looking at it now. If you have a chief executive from a non-editorial advertising stroke commercial background, is there an argument that she needs a head of programming who understands the channel, understands its exactly bit of continuity? That may be the case, or it may not. I mean, watch this space. We'll find out in due course. Because that's probably the single biggest decision for her to make incoming.
Who will run the editorial?
Do I want to, if you like, write a new editorial chapter, or do I actually prefer continuity? I mean, this happens with all these. I remember when I became director of television at ITV, there's head of drama, head of comedy, head of factual, head of all the different genres. Almost all of them said, the first thing they said to me was, are you going to sack me? Are you going to bring different people in for the sake of bringing different people in?
Which is the conventional wisdom, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it depends what the reasons are. If the reasons are good reasons, which are we need fresh editorial input, but we need a new voice, we need all that kind of stuff. If those are good reasons. If they are just, well, I'm in charge, so I want somebody who I appointed, so you're out. Those aren't necessarily such good reasons. And I would argue, revolving doors, where they revolve too fast, can be positively damaging to a creative organisation.
And not many. I mean, like Jeff, my mate Jeff said.
I mean, you're talking about is it Jeff Cooper? You're talking about
Jeff.
You make him sound like a plumber.
He was a builder.
Oh, he was. He genuinely.
He ran Travis Perkins.
Did he?
Yeah.
Does he speak like that?
And no, I've got no idea what Jeff speaks like. He could talk like that. He could talk like you, although few people in the modern age do. I mean, I think that Jeff Cooper is a self-made. He looks like a self-made man.
There's a Travis Perkins.
He's got a
like
really
building
great,
supplies,
strong.
Isn't it? There's one just near Paddington that I drive past regularly. You want a bit of 2x2? You just go into Travis Perkins.
Exactly. And you might even meet Jeff. he might be still connected to the grassroots of the company. No, he gave that up. He's a fantastically experienced. He's been on lots of boards over the years. Yeah, I mean, it's taken them a long time to find Priya Dogra.
It has, but then they took them a long time to find Jeff, didn't it?
Once you find Jeff, you're all right.
Yeah. We're into the Jeff and Priya era.
Listen, she's the 8th chief executive. Yes. I'm just looking at a list of them. They're pretty impressive list.
Let me see if I can...
All right.
Okay, Jeremy Isaacs.
Jeremy Isaacs from 82 to 87, 5 points.
Michael Grade.
88 to 97, another 5 points.
Michael Jackson.
97 to 2001. You're on a winner. You're on a roll. And then after Michael Jackson...
Mark Thompson.
Mark Thompson. 2002, 2004. Andy Duncan. Pause for comic relief. And after the brilliant Andy Duncan,
David Abraham,
2010,
Alex Mahon, Priya.
You've won tonight's Star Prize.
I'm pleased with myself for that.
That's very good. So you're not in the foothills of vascular dementia. You're doing all right.
Is that one of the tests?
You're doing all right. Yes.
When you go in and say, I think I might be losing, they say, name the chief executives of Channel 4.
Yes. So anyway, we wish her well.
Of course we wish her well. We wish Channel 4 well.
Yeah,
we are believers
in
Channel 4, just as we are on the BBC. And I think Channel 4 does face huge challenges. I mean, this almost goes without saying it faces huge challenges. But in its own way, like the BBC, it's got good survival instincts.
Yeah.
As long as you commission programs people want to watch, I think you'll find you find your way through the modern world.
All right. Is Owen?
Shall we get an envelope off Owen? We are, by the way, listeners, or if you're viewers, you will notice we're in a new studio, aren't we?
Yes.
We've changed. We've got a studio with potted plants in the background, though I can exclusively reveal they're made of plastic.
Yes. All right, Peter. Well,
I like real plants.
Spoil the magic. Talking of magic, Owen, who's not in his. I thought he was going to dress in Christmas outfits on the podcast.
Next week,
Right,
we're
an
going
elf.
to do a review of the year and go a little bit Christmassy, maybe even
Excellent.
sing a
Okay.
Christmas song.
All right, Owen.
This is very much a Ron Seal kind of briefing envelope. In other words, it's not some sort of pun that makes you think, what on earth does it mean by
Has he
that?
given up with puns now, Owen?
He seems to have done.
Thank God for that.
It literally just says
Okay.
a bidding war for Warner Brothers.
Oh, what could that be?
I think I know what it is, Jimmy.
Okay.
So a few days ago,
Yes.
Netflix announced that they'd won the bidding war to win to buy Warner Brothers for an eye-watering amount of money.
Warner Brothers Discovery.
82 million was it? I think
82 billion.
82 billion. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
82 million would be
I'm thinking of the sale of hat-trick there. Forthcoming.
I wish, my friend.
And then within a day, Paramount came out and said, no, we can outbid that. We're going to add about 30 billion.
Yeah, over 100 billion.
And they complained about the process, that they've been squeezed out by Netflix. So a full-scale war is on. President Trump's become involved. There's
what a
surprise. There's a surprise. I heard that Ted Sarandos went to the White House to say, oh, President Trump, please give your blessing to this bid. We want to buy Warner Brothers. Don't get it all tied up in regulatory investigations or whatever. I mean, what a world we live in that the president is concerned with this still. And Trump has actually said, he said various things about it. You know, when he's talking about the war in Ukraine or the other big challenges of the world, he's also
How much he
interested
hates
in
Europe.
we're a decaying civilization, of
We're
course.
decaying.
I think that's you and I are at the forefront of that. But Trump has also said something along the lines of, I'm not particularly friendly with any of the people involved. As if that matters. What a weird thing to say.
It does matter to
and
him.
yet his own son-in-law is involved in the Paramount bid.
Yes.
And the Paramount bid also involves Redbird and kind of money from sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So this is a big and murky and and it's obviously going to run. And, you know, what do we think? Does this make any difference to us in our lives? Or is this something taking place in a land far away we know little of?
Well, this might surprise you, but I'm sweating on this.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Cliffhanger. CNN.
I know where you're going to go with this. Have I got news for you, America?
Thank you. CNN are owned by WBD, and the Netflix deal, actually all they're interested in is the studio and the IP and all the rest of it, HBO. They're going to spin off the other things. So CNN and other stuff will be spun off into a different company. So CNN would exist as CNN. Now, if David Ellison, the Nepo baby, the son of Larry Ellison, the second richest man in the world, if he gets his way and he's going to buy the whole caboodle. He's going to buy the studio and all the networks. And as we know, he's very close to Donald Trump.
I'm about to say he's on the right wing, as he's out there.
He's Donald Trump's bitch, and he basically. That's why they gave Donald Trump when they were buying. Remember when Skydance bought Paramount? They bought the whole thing. That's why they're called Paramount now. It's actually Paramount Skydance. Is that they actually settled with Trump. They gave Trump money.
Hang on, the Ellison money comes from Oracle, doesn't it?
Yes.
So this is another example of tech wealth becoming so great that it kind of just sort of absorbs Hollywood and television and media, we make programs for Amazon, originally a tech company, and Apple are in the streaming business. And so
Correct.
This is obviously a sign of the times, isn't it?
Yeah. And so it will affect us because I think that, to cut a long story short, I think if Paramount succeed in overturning this bid and buy it going straight to shareholders saying, we'll give you more money if you come with us. That's called a hostile bid. If that wins, I think, not immediately, but it will take 2 years to go through anyway, through all the antitrust laws, is that eventually I think that something like CNN, they would change CNN. I think if Trump...
Do you mean change its political complexion?
Yeah, I think they would.
Or change, or they'd start to consolidate different...
Trump, I might be being paranoid, but Trump hates CNN. And if he's part of this whole thing, if they are, as they've said, we've gone to Trump and we said, if you let Netflix buy WBD, this will be bad for Hollywood, bad for the business, bad for competition. And by the way, Trump hates Hollywood. So it's all about money.
Yes.
Trump will bracket his feelings about things if he thinks he's going to make a bit of dosh. The thing about Trump is that he's in all of these deals.
Yeah. No, and well, honestly, his son is. I mean, Jared Kushner, a week ago was in Moscow talking to Putin about ending the war, and now he's related to the Paramount bid for Warner Brothers. It does feel like a weird world, doesn't it?
Well, it feels like a corrupt world, Peter. That's what it feels like. So anyway, as soon as I saw that, I thought, and I rang Jim Biederman, who's our executive producer on the show in America, and he said, we are worried that if we don't go with Netflix and they go with Paramount, then I think that the writing is on the wall for an outlet like CNN.
But and obviously that matters to you because you haven't got news for you, but CNN is quite a small part of all this.
And by the way, it's struggling as a business. So, they could easily say, well, we're looking at the numbers, we're going to shut it down.
Sure. There's a slight parallel, I guess, 25 years ago with the merger between AOL and Time Warner.
Yeah.
That became notorious, I think,
for
being the most value destructive takeover in history.
Yeah.
I.e., it looked like this is the right thing to do for these two huge organizations from completely different backgrounds. One being an internet, one that, kind of
AOL, remember the
.com bubble, all that kind of stuff, and one being an old world magazines and all those things. And it was a disaster.
Yeah.
So these things can go horribly wrong, can't they?
They can, and they are two very different worlds. I mean, I remember when a guy called Lloyd Braun was appointed from ABC. He was the kind of head. He was the president of ABC, I think, and then he was poached by Yahoo.
Yeah.
We had a meeting with him in America, but he was all over the front page of the Hollywood Reporter because he'd gone on his first day to the car park with his big flashy car.
These are the big things that matter.
And he hit the roof because he hadn't got his own dedicated parking space. He was furious, and he got hold of HR, and they sent him an email saying, actually, in this world, we don't have parking spaces. It's egalitarian. It's first come, first served. And the article that was written in the Hollywood Reporter was, to your point, are these two worlds incompatible?
Yes.
Are people with that mentality not going to work in the new world? And we've seen people crash and burn. But I think actually, going back to the Priya Dogra thing, is she's, digital transformation apparently is on a shopping list. So,
listeners might want to know that this morning I parked in a car parking space that had the words Jimmy Mulville in it.
You're damn right it did.
And that's because you were being brought here by your chauffeur-driven car, Jimmy. Does that make us AOL or Time Warner? I'm not sure.
I think that probably makes us the East India company. I think we're so old. I
think we'll probably be coming back to the whole Warner Brothers takeover thing.
I think it's going to get.
It's going to run
and heat up.
And run.
What you're looking at is, if the Netflix deal goes through, people are worried it'll be the end of Warner Brothers making movies for theaters. Larry Ellison's son David is saying we will make 30 movies a year and put them in theaters.
Yeah, but
so there's a kind of cultural argument as well.
What people say in this stage of a takeover,
oh no, they're campaigning.
Not to be trusted. I mean, Netflix, you could say Warner Brothers are one of the most distinguished names in Hollywood, but Warner Brothers to the viewer doesn't mean very much. Hollywood studios names they pass at the beginning of a film, and and then you don't think about it. Whereas Netflix is embedded in people's lives. We all, we watch Netflix. We think of Netflix as emblematic of the whole world of streaming. It is the premier and in terms of numbers, it's the premier numbers in streaming. I think there's an issue in here which, again, it's speculative at this point. What is the future for movies in movie theatres, or cinemas as we call them in the UK? Because we are television people ultimately, but the film industry wants its films shown in cinemas to audiences, and the window for that has got shorter and shorter anyway. I mean, at the moment, you'll see something like, I don't know, I saw a film the other day called J. Kelly, and I mean...
In a cinema?
No, I didn't. That's the point. It was in
When was the last time you went to cinema?
No, I went to see one battle after another in the cinema.
So did I.
And very good it was too, and I was really glad I'd seen it in the cinema.
I wasn't that great. I thought it was too long.
Well, most things are too long, including this podcast. But basically, that window for the cinema is getting shorter and shorter. So that's of concern to people on the film side of the film and TV business. And, why would you go and spend money watching J. Kelly or One Battle After Another if literally a week later it's going to be on Netflix? We got another envelope. Owen, produce the envelope.
What's this for?
Across the studio floor.
Let me see. He's pre-opened it for me.
He wants to reuse it next week.
We wish you a Meghan Christmas.
Ah.
So this is Miss Markle, isn't it?
Yes.
I haven't seen it. You've seen it?
I've seen a bit of it.
Okay.
I've seen a bit of it. But I want to compare it with another show, because I think there's two things going on here. Because there's two shows, both featuring very divisive figures, one of which is With Love, Meghan, which has just dropped on Netflix. And as research for this podcast, I have got the measure of it. I've watched a certain amount of it. And the other is the Liz Truss Show.
Oh, I've seen a trailer for that.
I've seen more than a trailer. I've seen the opening monologue, which I can exclusively reveal has fewer jokes than a typical opening monologue in Have I Got News for You. And I've seen the first interview, which she interviews somebody who agrees with everything she says.
Which one is trying to bring down the deep state? Meghan Markle or Liz Truss?
I think in different ways. They both position. That's a really interesting point. I think they're both positioning themselves as
outsiders.
We are outsiders to the establishment, and what Meghan Markle's got the royal family in her target, all that establishment. With Liz Truss, it's the so-called deep state, and interestingly, they're using television to get straight to the people.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the thing about Liz Truss Show, to be absolutely clear, is dreadful because it's so cheaply made. I mean, here's a sharp difference between the two. Meghan Markle's show is dripping in production value, beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Every bauble she puts on the Christmas tree is perfectly lit.
Yeah.
Liz Truss looks a bit like a hostage video. I mean, it's so cheaply made. And as Liz Truss does her kind of, opening monologue about the deep state and how,
it's more of a cry for help, isn't
she
it?
literally says Britain's going to hell in a handcart and so on. Bit cry for helpy. But then having watched it, I then scrolled down to the comments and they were almost universally positive, saying, good on you, Liz. Thank God you're there to say all these things.
And that's worrying.
And I'm sure that Meghan Markle's fans love her show. And so you could say, what these two things have in common is people who are using television to reach the people who like them and probably not being bothered by the fact that a lot of people don't. So it's very easy to criticize Meghan's show. It's not even her house. She talks about family all the time. There's no sign of her kids. But in terms of the television side of it, there is something weirdly comparable to these
Which is the more
things.
hypnotic, which is the more kind of compelling? Because when you're watching shows like that, it is a bit like watching a car crash. You can't take your eyes off it. And the car crashes in different ways, aren't they?
Yes.
Like Meghan Markle's is so...
Meghan Markle's quite
so choreographed.
It's a beautiful car crash, though.
Yeah.
So there is at least the pleasure of the sort of loveliness of this house in California and the lighting and the... Do you know what I mean? Whereas Liz Truss...
It's a moron in a beautiful kitchen.
The Liz Truss show doesn't have any of those.
No, it's a wide-eyed lunatic staring at you, and she looks like it's more like you could show that to a group of psychiatrists and say, okay, let's diagnose her, because it is like a cry for help. She is clearly batshit.
But to use a modern cliche, they're both giving their truth, aren't they? They're both
My truth.
their truth, and whether their truth is true, whether Liz Truss's analysis of what went wrong with her premiership.
Well, apparently she was right.
She said, that's what I'm saying.
I've been proved right.
She's been proved right by everything.
Talk about the production values, because what's interesting is, I wonder how many viewers they each get, because I think that people are more used to watching the Liz Truss kind of level of production now, and as long as the content is compelling,
yes.
No,
we were talking about this last week,
and it goes to the
absolutely.
If it's gripping,
does it matter?
If your attention's being
filmed?
gripped,
yeah,
and what you're watching actually is a secondary. The fact it's very beautiful, but it's not very compelling. You're not going to watch it. But if Liz Truss, and you're a fan of Liz Truss, even if you're not, like, if you're watching Liz Truss and you're thinking, God, this woman is crazy, you're still watching it.
So both Meghan's show and Liz Truss's show, whatever you think of them, in some ways kind of similar.
Yeah.
Divisive person, reaches their audience. In other words, completely different. One's on Netflix, very expensive. One's very cheap on YouTube. They're kind of modern phenomena. And there's another modern phenomenon that I thought it might be worth us talking about, which is, this was in the newspapers only 2 days ago. And so I thought, I'll check this out. So this is an AI-generated reality show called Non-Player Combat.
Non-Player Combat?
Yeah, and honestly, I watched some of it, and the production values, the look of it, are quite remarkable. It's a sort of I'm a celebrity type thing, full of challenges. It's got a bit of Bear Grylls to it. It's got a bit of survival to it. They drop people into jungles, and it's got contestants, but they are all invented. So they're AI, though honestly, you'd hardly know it, because after all, if you watch a celebrity version of a reality show, half the time you haven't a clue who the celebrities are anyway. So the characters in this are as real to me as a lot of celebrities in celebrity reality shows. And the weird thing about this is it's made in Coventry by a company called A-Mation. I think that's what they're called, or AI-Mation, AI-Motion or something. And it's had a lot of publicity because of the AI side of it, because people love writing about AI. But as you watch this, you think, you could watch it in a dismissive way, in a way, and say, because these people don't exist, why should I care whether they get eaten by the polar bear or drown in the swamp, or whether the snake bites them? Because there's all that sort of stuff.
It's quite gruesome.
Because it's AI, they can set themselves, they can set the contestants' challenges.
You could kill them.
Exactly. So you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to keep them alive at the end.
No, there are very few actors who agree to be killed during a reality show
like that. Yeah. But I also watched it thinking, oh my goodness, is this the future? Because if it's true that which apparently it is, that it costs £30,000 an episode to make, which is vastly cheaper than an episode of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here or whatever, which is just finished a run, and that's about 25 years old now, maybe showing its age a little bit and so on, struggling to find good enough grade celebrities for it. Is this a way the world is going? And is this, so, we talk about Netflix, Warner Brothers and so on, these things are eating at the foundation of our business. And AI is eating at the foundation of our business in another way, or is it?
Well, you see, I think what's interesting about that is, if I knew it was AI, which apparently some organizations are saying, if we're going to do an AI program, we'll tell the audience so they'll know. But if I'm watching a reality show with, so the presupposition is that I'm watching a real thing happening to real people. The delight of I'm a Celebrity is watching a celebrity you either don't recognize or don't like having to eat a kangaroo's testicle. If you know it's all made up, I think it robs you of the excitement. Whereas if you're watching an AI drama, which is fiction anyway, I think I'm more likely to watch an AI drama and think, I quite like this, it's a good drama. But reality, I think, I want to see the people suffer.
Yeah, but you could...
I want to see real people suffering.
I understand that, but to use a kind of analogy, this is like watching Walking with Dinosaurs to watching a David Attenborough thing about actual animals that exist in the current world. But what Walking with Dinosaurs was very, very popular indeed.
Yes.
So I don't know. I exactly see what you mean, but if this is made, and from what I've seen of it, it's made with enormous kind of imagination,
Yeah.
and it's a hell of a spectacle. Does it occupy some territory somewhere between what we in our old-fashioned way call a real program and a video game, but it looks much better than a video game. And so could it catch on? Well, I basically watched it on YouTube, and I looked, as one does on YouTube, at the viewer numbers. It came out 2 days ago. And it had said 7,500 viewers. And we've had this conversation in previous weeks in relation to Spitting Image on YouTube. 7,500 viewers, that's not going to justify going on doing it.
Not even with 30 grand.
But these are very, very early days. And so is it a sign of the times, which is kind of what we talk about all the time? What is a sign of the times? I think it may be. I'm also fascinated by the fact that this obviously very high-end animation company is based in Coventry. I don't know why that seems very surprising.
I'm glad it is. I actually
Have you ever been to Coventry, Jim?
I have been to Coventry.
Haven't you?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
I went
It was
to
shut.
Coventry.
It was shut.
Well, I went when it was open. When I was at school, as you know and gleefully pointed out, I went to a fee-paying school in Kent.
Yes.
Boarding school.
Yes.
And in my entire time at school, we only had one school trip,
Really?
which was to Coventry.
Really?
Yes, it was to give us slightly overprivileged boys a sense of, what happened beyond, when you got out of the South.
As far north as the Midlands.
Exactly.
I can see me watching a drama where they say, this is an AI drama. It was written by Jed Mercurio, but actually what they're doing is they're using AI figures in it. I think you watch that, you think, well, okay, it looks pretty good. And it's fiction anyway. Now, it will piss off actors because you're replacing actors, but that might come. I'm not saying
it's going to happen, isn't it?
It's just around the corner.
Because
people are going to do
that. The writer is going to say, that's an interesting challenge. I want to be the first over the top. I want to be the innovator here. And you judging by the quality of the animation in non-player combat, you could absolutely
It's very
believe
realistic.
each of the characters in this has the normal thing you get in a reality show where they say, oh, well, I was born in, Wisconsin or something, and I was a bad boy at school and got into trouble, but now I'm trying to find my way back. The usual backstory stuff is all there. It's perfectly convincing. It's perfectly convincing. It isn't real. Does it bother you? But it kind of begs the question, what is real? What is real? Television isn't real by its very nature. The filming is fake. So I don't know. I think we should come back to this. And there will be other examples to talk about. But this one struck me because it got a lot of publicity. It's out there on YouTube. And somebody has put, whatever the cost of it, 30,000 seems to be a surprisingly low amount when you look at what's on screen, but an awful lot of creativity and love has gone into it.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm wary of dismissing it.
One day I might be talking to an AI version of you.
Well, that's it for this week. We're going to be back next week
We
for
are.
one more before the Christmas break, and we're going to do a kind of review of the year, big stories in television, what's happened in 2025, and maybe peek into the crystal ball about what might happen in 2026. So thanks very much for listening. Any questions about the world of television that you've always wanted to ask, send them our way. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, you can send us an email or get us on our socials. All the info is in the description.
Even better, why not subscribe to our YouTube channel? Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please do follow Insiders, the TV podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Bye.